Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever may be the case. First of all, I want to give my condolences to Jesse Jackson's family for the loss of such a great leader. Jesse Jackson was one of the greatest leaders we've ever had since our time. He reminded me of Dr. King, as well as Malcolm X, as well as Congressman Rangel, and a number of other elected officials in the past who spoke up for people's rights that were violated. And I thank God for me having the inspirations from these leaders to want to try to continue on their legacy, which is to speak for those of them that have not been spoken for. As you see here, I talked about this here situation for about a year, 2 years now, highlighting the fact that these were contaminated dirt piles at the City of Bridgeport Health Department on 752 East Main Street. These were contaminated dirt piles that came from a contaminated building that was right next to the health department where kids were going in for WIC program vouchers and all the above. So I made enough complaints to cause them to have to finally move these piles, which cost the city $250,000. And because of that, after 27 years with the City of Bridgeport, I was terminated from my job because I had the audacity to want to say something about these piles by bringing state officials down here to check out these piles, which caused them to have to remove them. What troubles me as well is the fact that you see me talk about putting more police in public housing authority woes. I've been speaking about issues all my life, and it troubles me that they can take and disregard me as a rabble-rouser, as someone who's just a agitated person. No, I'm not an agitated person. I'm a community activist who was called by God to speak truth to power, and that's what I've always tried to do. Now, it troubles me because yesterday I got a call from the Human Rights Commission telling me, one person, that their law review have looked at my complaints and seen my complaints as being not as irrelevant as they thought it would have been, apparently. That's what it basically comes down to, which is an outright lie and a disgrace and a shame. And I'm outraged over the Human Rights Commission in the state of Connecticut in Bridgeport to sit here and to be a part of a cover-up. It's bad enough that they told me and told the city that they had the right to censor me when I used the N-word. And I used the N-word after 19 years of being terminated from the City of Bridgeport because I had the audacity to want to speak out about these contaminated dirt piles. They terminated me unjustly, okay? And here is basically what happened. And I'm going to play a recorder for you of Dr. Evans showing you in the public that I was at work on question of the day, March 16, 2006. Nevertheless, I will show you that the Labor Board Commissioners, Gerald Weiner, Mike Cohad, Albert Murphy, Jody Paul, Dr. Evans, all conspired against me and lied on me. And I will show you overwhelming evidence, as well as I will play their voices, letting their own voices say what they said during a meeting we had pertaining to my medical benefits being denied me. They took that away from me as well, knowing that they had not the right to do that. Because any employee who works for the City of Bridgeport have a right to continue their medical benefits as long as they file agreements within a timely fashion. Now what I'm going to do is play this recorder, okay? And I want you to hear this recorder. This is from Dr. Evans. It's going to get much more clear once you get off the phone. So right now it's a little stagnated, but you will get the clarity of it in a moment or so. that she acknowledged me coming to work on March 16, 2006. And that's what troubles me, is that for them to know that and they ignore that as a shame and a disgrace. Now what I will do is I will now play Jody Paul in her remarks. Read the letter, Mr. Murphy says. Lies. Yeah, Murphy heard that, but he lied. Stop this for a moment, then have her reflect on this letter for those of you who may not be able to understand it because we're moving kind of fast because there's so much to be said. But I want to identify with what she pointed out. You see, she got these three different spots. These are three different lies that he lied on me on behalf of the city of Bridgeport. Can you reflect on that?
Yes.
And I will identify with the lies. Go ahead.
A letter dated March 20th, 2006, and this is from Department of Health and Social Services, written by Miriam Evans, Director of Health and Social Services. Mr. Young, in reference to unauthorized absence. Dear Mr. Young, you were advised via a letter from Labor Relations dated 3/10/2006 that you must return to work immediately or you would be deemed to have voluntarily resigned your position as a security guard with the City of Bridgeport. As of Friday, 3/17, you have not returned to work. There is no valid reason for your absence. Therefore, your absence is considered unauthorized.
Now, hold right there. Isn't that a lie? Literally sit up here, the director of the public health department, and literally sit up here and lie on me, say that I did not return to work, and fire me on March 20th instead of honoring the March 16th that I did come to work. Here's Dr. Evans' supervisor, my supervisor, Dr. Evans' assistant, who likewise signed me in on that date and told him that I would be going for a colon exam. You hear it on the bottom of her note that she left for Dr. Evans showing that. And here's the colon exam scheduled for the 17th, which is that Friday. They have all this in black and white, and they have it on my time card. For her to sit up here and to lie like this and to get away with it, I say shame on this labor board, Albert Murphy. Finish on with what he said, my dear. Go ahead.
Yes, there is no valid reason for your absence. Therefore, your absence is considered unauthorized, and your employment with the city is hereby terminated effective immediately.
Okay, now let's go to Albert Murphy. Now, here's the lie. This is what really troubled me. To go to the State Labor Board chairman, he's the chairman of the termination part. He lied and gave the impression that my doctor's note was literally strips of paper and the signature was unillegible. Reflect on that if you could, on what he said. Then I will show you the lies.
Yes. I'm going to read the
whole thing.
Paragraph before.
There
does not appear to be any particular formality attached to the requirements of a medical certificate other than that it be acceptable to the appointing authority, for example, the grievance superior. A further condition presumably would be that the appointing authority acceptance of a certificate not be unreasonably withheld. In this case, the city was faced with a situation where an employee had been out of work for several weeks and attempting to justify his absence with what were literally scraps of paper.
Now, can you hold it right there? Could you hear what he just said? What I showed up literally with literally straps of paper. Does this look like straps of papers to you? These are the doctor's notes that I showed up with. First two doctor's notes were sent by a nurse, was signed by the nurse. That wasn't good enough. They wanted to know what I was being treated for. So he had to tell them what I was being treated for, okay? Extreme anxiety. Okay, he had to tell him that, okay? Otherwise, I wasn't getting honored. I had to tell him, and up under the HIPAA law, I didn't have to tell him that. But I was forced to tell him that in order to protect my job, in order to keep my benefits. So I told him what I was being treated for, extreme anxiety, by Dr. Wainick, a clinical psychiatrist, for going on 20 years now. March 20th will be 20 years that I've been seeing Dr. Wainick for over 20 years. Taking these Xanax. I took another one this morning, so excuse me for being a little off balance because I took an extra one because, again, it troubles me that I have to take this medication and other medications to keep me under control. Continue on with his lies. Let me show you where he lied on my doctor's signature saying it was unillegible. This is the way my doctor writes. Go ahead, you can finish, my dear.
Attempted to justify his absence with what were literally scraps of paper.
Does this look like scraps of paper?
Two of them were signed by a nurse.
The nurse.
The one which was signed allegedly
Allegedly.
by a doctor did not contain any description of the grievance.
Now hold up, right there. Did you see what you just said? It was one was received by a doctor who didn't know the description. What did Dr. Walter say here? He was treating me for what?
Extreme anxiety.
But yet and still, the labor board chairman said he was not treating me. Didn't you just say that a minute ago?
Yes.
Okay.
And on that letter for April 6th, where Dr. Walter's signature is also verified there, and he states that you have been treated by him for several years.
Several years. I've been being
treated.
treated.
Several years, And he referred you out to Dr. Waynett.
And for him to know that, him to have this letter in writing showing that I've been being treated by Dr. Walters, and for him to totally disregard that, for the city to totally disregard it, is a shame and a disgrace.
Yes.
Then he used the excuse that his signature was unillegible. Come on.
And in fact, if I can just put my 2 cents here,
Go ahead.
that his referral was actually after the termination date, which was on 3/27. His referral to Dr. Waynett was after the termination date of March 20th.
And really would add insult to injury, as he said, unillegible. This is the way Dr. Walter write, unillegible, loop. That's the way you write. He's a doctor. That's the way they write. Like lawyers, they write in their kind of fashion they want to write in, as long as you understand where it's coming from. And to sit up here and to deny me my medical leave request, saying that it was not justifiable for me to be out up under extreme anxiety, to be out up under the kind of pain and the suffering that I was going through, that I was forced to have to deal with because of them me being attacked by city officials, council members. Shame on them, okay? And I say thank God for the Assistant Attorney General Mitchell, okay, who filed my complaint, who made a hell of a report and found and gave it to the state auditors. The state auditors did their findings pertaining to if whether or not Albert Murphy, Gerald Wayner committed fraud. And I said that Albert Murphy, Gerald Wayner committed fraud, and Mike Coed committed fraud and violated my civil rights. And here's evidence of that. Mike Coed got paid $525 for justifiably what Albert Murphy saying the city was justifiable in terminating me, even though these were a bunch of lies that he used to terminate me. Okay, yet and still, when it came down to the medical part, you cannot receive medical benefits if you voluntarily resign. I did not voluntarily resign. I was terminated. So because I was terminated, I filed a grievance showing that I was terminated, and I had a hearing. And here it is. We got four hearings. All right, pertaining to my medical benefits. He made $575 off of that, and on top of all that, Gerald Wayner made $850 pertaining to my medical benefits. Why would they have to be paid this kind of money for medical benefits for a person who voluntarily resigned? If I voluntarily resign, you don't get no benefits, okay? You don't get no benefits. You don't get no hearing. But if I was terminated, I had a right to have a hearing. And isn't that the reason why they had all these hearings? Because I was terminated. Otherwise, they shouldn't have been being paid for having hearings. And I want the records of these hearings that they got paid this money for. He got $225 in the beginning, $150, $150, $150 again, and $175 at the end. For what? I want records pertaining to what did they have in those meetings that gave them their opinions to assume that the city was justifiable in them getting paid to do what? Commit fraud? Because that's what they did. They committed fraud. And I'm saying that Gerald Wayne and Mike Coed sued me, Cecil Young. My home is worth at least $500,000. It's paid for. It's paid for. Sue me, Gerald Wayner. You're a lawyer. Mike Coed, if you're not a lawyer, you know lawyers. Albert Murphy, you know lawyers. All of the above. Dr. Evans, you all committed fraud, and there should be an indictment handed down to all of the above for doing what you did. And I'm saying to you, why would you cover up this stuff? And Senator Blumenthal, shame on you to have your Assistant Attorney General Mitchell have these auditors do their findings, and their findings was with to whom? Patricia Nichols at that time. She was Patricia Nichols. She became Patricia Young after a while because she became so sick to a point where I felt like, okay, we need to get married right away because she needed help. And I didn't want her to have to be caught up in the welfare line being treated like she didn't deserve the kind of respect that she deserved to get because she spent 30-something years with me, okay, helping me to fight these battles that I've been fighting for years for our people. Okay, and to have a Republican and a Democrat, I'm sure that the Republican ain't going to agree with no Democratic lies. If he did, he need to be indicted. I'm saying, where is the auditors, refiners, based on Gerald Albert, Mr. Wayner's work? What are the findings? What is the findings in my case? Did they say that Albert Murphy committed fraud? Did they say that Mike Coed committed fraud? I say they did. And I have evidence that they committed fraud. And that's why I'm pleading with you to help me do something about that. And to have the city, okay, to have me be forced to have to be tackled, okay, tackled by city officials. Tackled by city officials because of what? Me exercising my First Amendment right? My my First Amendment right to speak out about issues that affect our people in our community, about raw sewage being allowed to be flowed into the basement, because when they unclog those apartment units, the human waste usually goes into the basement floor and dries up on its own, or drips through the drain pipe if there's a drain pipe in that area. Most times there's not drain pipes in those areas, so it just cakes up and builds up, and it becomes a dust storm during the summertime because it dries out, and it looks like a desert in the basement at times because of that raw human waste being mixed up. And you imagine the amount of roaches, the amount of mice that are walking on this kind of droppings and that are carrying it around people's houses, throughout their homes. They're living with this day in and day out in P.T. Barnum Public Housing Project. And I'm sure in 2026, it is the same way that they unclog the sewage in the household trash cans that I showed on my show. You can download the Cecil Young Show on YouTube, Soundview Media, 7 days a week, Monday through Sunday. And you will see all of the evidence that I've been talking about here today. You will see it in black and white. You will hear it in audio from their voices saying, yes, Cecil Young, you came to work, but you left an hour and a half later. And to have the labor board and them cover it up, caused me to have an operation on my back 7.5 hours. 7.5 hours. I had an operation on my back because I was attacked by council persons, okay, because of me what? Exercising my First Amendment right. And I was banned from speaking at City Hall council meeting for 3 years. And I went along with it because my wife was too sick for me to get any more involved in terms of beating and meeting down there at City Hall. So I kind of backed off for a little while. And the reason why they banned me from speaking at City Hall was because I said after being treated for 19 years, 18 years, of no one responding to my issues, okay? And I said, I'm tired of being treated like a nigga. I'm a black man. I don't use those kind of words, nigga words, because nigga words has never been my cup of tea to have to use, because I didn't have to use the nigga word. I am a black man. I am an African-American, okay? So I'm not into using the nigga word, but to turn around and have me assaulted because of me using the nigga word and ban me from speaking at City Hall, and I said, no problem, I won't use it again if it offends you. But again, in America, free speech is America. It is an American way to express your feelings about how you feel about you being treated. I was treated like I'm a foreigner, treated like I had no rights. I'm an American citizen, a taxpayer, a homeowner. It troubles me that I cannot get the justice that I've been denied. And it also irritates me that I had the audacity to have my council member, Ernest Newton and Anita Martinez, request that the mayor investigate these allegations pertaining to if the city was justifiable not in terminating me. The city was not justifiable in terminating me. I say to the audience, I call you a marked juror. I want you to be the marked jurors to help me confirm the fact that the state auditors and the Human Rights Commissions are in bed together in terms of violating my civil rights as well. And I say shame on the Human Rights Commission to turn around and to tell me that the city was justifiable in banning me from speaking at City Hall because I used the nigger word. Well, hey, hold up. The nigger word is nothing new. Just like I used the spick word or the cracker word. What's wrong with the word? As long as I'm not calling you a nigger, as long as I'm not calling you a cracker, as long as I'm not calling you a spick, why would you get upset about me using the nigger word if that's how I said I have been feeling like? Especially by people that look like you and me. That come from our neighborhoods. It troubles me to be treated like a N-word when I know good and well I am American. I am a black American born and raised here in the city of Bridgeport. I am a 75-year-old black man in America. This coming April 6th, I'll be 76, okay? And I say shame on y'all to ignore my cries. I ran for mayor in 1977, I ran for mayor because I care about my people. Black, white, Puerto Rican, Jew, what have you. You check the records out about me. And I say to you, go on Soundview Media, go on YouTube. You will see at least 35 to 40 different shows that I've done over the years, me explaining to them the importance of what they did to me, explaining to them, showing them overwhelming evidence that I was wrongfully convicted, I was wrongfully terminated, unjustly, and to have the state of Connecticut, because the governor appoints the chairman who is over the Human Rights Commission, okay, and they get in bed with the governor and go along with the governor's program just to protect the governor. When Governor Lamont, I gave him this information years ago, pertaining to my civil rights being violated. That's why I filed a complaint against him, not responding to me. I've responded to the governor, said to him several times, sent him letters, respond, governor, respond. He did not respond, not one time to me. Governor Lamont, come on, why not? Huh? I gave a letter to Governor Rowland at the time, I believe it was, or no, the governor before that at the time, and they sent it to the Human Rights Commission. So I kind of expected that they would do what I thought they would do, which is they're going to put me a letter in the mail, which I should be receiving today or tomorrow, telling me that they did not find that the city was justified, that they were not wrong in what they did to me. You see here overwhelming evidence showing you that the city did me wrong. They violated my rights. After 27 and a half years, to try to make it look like I was out of work for a month when I was only out of work for 13 days. And I was out of work because of what? I was being treated for what? Extreme anxiety. Huh? I was being treated for what? Extreme anxiety. That's what I was being treated for. Huh? And what's so beautiful about it? The federal judge approved that. A federal judge approved the fact that Cecil Young have a right to be out on disability. He was approved. Huh? Social Security, 2010, they approved my disability because of me being attacked, because of me going through extreme anxiety. And if those of them that didn't know what extreme anxiety means, I want them to look at the list and to look at what extreme anxiety means to people like me who was assaulted physically and psychologically, and see what kind of damage it's done to me and my family. It destroyed my family. My wife, Patricia Nickel, is no longer here. She's dead. She's dead because she smoked herself to death, writing letters after letters to everybody under the sun, even though she had one collapsed lung one time or another years and years ago. She was not sick. She was not bad off at that time before she passed. And to turn around here and to have her have to write all these letters and write all these letters out, okay, about trying to get me the justice that I've been denied. Look at her, healthy as can be. She's no longer here now. My daughter, is 30 years old now. She missed her mother greatly. You don't know what kind of trouble she had to go through in order to deal with the loss of her mother, who became married to me, with Judge Paul Ganem, the mayor's brother, Joe Ganem. I got him to marry us on that date in question. All right, to help guarantee the fact that I would be justifiable if they did fire me, but they fired me anyhow. Why? Because they knew they could get away with it, and they got away with it so far. But I ain't letting it go nowhere. Read what my doctor said. Read what the doctor said was wrong with me. I've been suffering with pain on my body for years. Okay, all right, and it all wasn't because of the city. I had problems with my back in the past, but after I had that attack, the operation they put on me took 7.5 hours. My back ain't never been right. I'm suffering day in and day out. I can't sleep a full 8 hours. I can't sleep a four good hours without taking me a Xanax in the middle of the night. I have to take 2 or 3 Xanax just to keep me halfway going throughout the days, okay? Now, I've been treated by Dr. Wainick, Dr. Walters, Dr. Masowitz, all the above. Look at what they said was wrong with me. And they say extreme anxiety was not justifiable enough for me to be out of work for 2 weeks. And you forced me to go back to work against my doctor's will, knowing how this has affected me and my family. And the reason why you did it was because you fear the labor board and the power that they have. Yes, they have awesome power. Mike Cohan, Gerald Wayner has awesome power. He's been on the board for almost 20 years, Gerald Wayner. Mike Cohan's been on the board for almost 20 years. That is why it's hard for any judge to disregard what they may suggest in terms of the rulings, because they've been there for so long and the power that they got so long that people are afraid of going against them. But I say to you, how can you go with them when I have produced all of this evidence in black and white showing that they were in bed and that they got paid, they committed fraud? And I say to Gerald Wayner, you are a lawyer, sue me, Cecil Young. Take my home from me, it's paid for, Gerald Wayner. Mike Cohen, take my home from me, it's paid for. Come and get it, throw me out. Come on. No, you didn't want to do that. Why you didn't want to do that? Because you thought you would get me to sign a release. I finally found what you were talking about, because here's NAID's union contract telling them any employee have a right to continue these benefits for a 6-month period as long as they file agreements within that time period. I filed agreements. Instead of you honoring my benefits, you drew up a plan with you and somebody from the union to try to get me to sign these papers. For what? Sign this agreement? What this agreement says? To give you, to drop my complaints? Why should I drop my complaints against what you did to me, Jody Paul, Mayor John Fabrizi? Whoever heard of John Fabrizi in labor relations people signing a paper asking an employee to sign his name up under there saying, I will drop my complaint if I if they drop my complaint. If I drop my complaint, they will then reinstate me. I'm not going to drop no complaint for what you did to me. And Mark Anastasia, the city attorney, they wanted me to sign this. I'm not going to sign no paper. That wasn't part of the Nade Union contract, that when an employee gets fired, he has to make an agreement in order to get reinstated. No, no, no. You tried to do it twice. Again, another paper you tried to get me to sign, because my wife was so sick, and my new wife that I got married to help me continue this battle is wearing her out to a point where she can't take it. She's about ready to break because it's wearing her down. Who wants to hear about somebody else's ex-wife, and the trouble they went through? I do, because I deserve justice. She deserves justice. Her family deserves justice. What they did to me, all right, if they wouldn't have did what they did to me, she would still be here. So I'm saying to the state of Connecticut, I shouldn't have to sign any agreement or going along with your so-called, in order for me to get my benefits that I have a right to receive. And it insults me even more so again. I mentioned this the other day about me putting up a bond. What does the state of Connecticut turn into? They're beginning to remind me that they have reflections of ISIS in their mind in terms of the state of Connecticut. Think they can do what they want to do. Now here is a bond I put up for my stepson, Curtis Johnson. A bond, a $500 bond I put out of my pocket. I'm a senior citizen. I gave $500 bond to get him out of jail on bond. Not for him to pay for his child support. He had the baby. Make him pay for his child support. You do what you do and what you've been doing. You lock his behind up if he don't pay child support. You lock him up if he's not responsible for what you tell him he's supposed to do for what he owes. Not take my money. I didn't put my money up for you to be taking my money and put it towards his child support. Shame on the state of Connecticut. Are you taking it out on me because I said state of Connecticut, the judiciary system need to be looked into, need to be investigated behind doing what they did to me? Yes, they need to be. Shame on them. I want my $500 back, and I will be at the courthouse. I will be protesting at the courthouse. I'm not going to let this go. You ain't going to take my money. I'm a senior citizen. I got light bills to pay. I got gas bills to pay. Curtis is a hard-working man when he gets a job. He's raised 3 different kids. 2 of his kids have been taken care of. The other one, he's been falling behind because he's been through a lot to cause him to go where he's been going astray to a degree, back and forth from time to time. But he's a good man. He never was involved in drugs. He was never involved in real crime. He was never involved in anything out of the ordinary that make you feel ashamed of why I would not want to get him out on jail because of him not being able to support his child. Come on, don't take my money. And I say, thank God for public TV. If it wasn't for public TV giving me a chance to hear my crimes, I would have been on Main Street in front of the courthouse, in front of the house, in front of Golden Hill Street, protesting on a loudspeaker, in front of people's businesses, protesting about my rights being violated. But I say, thank God for Soundview Media here in Stratford, Connecticut. If it wasn't for Soundview Media to help give me the peace of mind and let me know that even if they don't give me my justice, even if they don't give me my reparations, they give me my job back, at least my kids and my family will know, and the people will know someday someone will tell Cecil Young's story, because it's all on YouTube. You can download every one of my shows. I got about 40 shows that I've done, and every one of my shows pretty well says the same thing about what I'm saying today. It said the same thing in audio. It said the same thing in writing. And I'm saying thank God for Soundview Media TV, because otherwise I would be in front of somebody's business with a loudspeaker making a lot of noise, and they say, what is he making all that noise about? He's irritating me. I don't want to go in that store. I don't want nobody's business to be stagnated in this city that I live in. I want them to go to that store and get what they went there for, and to come out peacefully, relax, and feel no tension, no pressure. They won't feel that if I'm in front of that building, in front of that store, aggravating their customers by yelling and screaming over a microphone. No, so instead what I did, I paid for a producer to produce my show. I paid for airtime to announce my show. Okay, why? Because I feel like what they did to me, they could do it to you. And I'm paying for it out of my pocket. And I'm saying to the city of Bridgeport, I am a poor man. I grew up in public housing. I don't have no degree. I'm a ghetto candidate, as they call it. Someone from the hood who kind of made it good. Why? Because I earned and I worked for what I got. And that's why I say to the city of Bridgeport, and I say to the state of Connecticut, okay, for the city of Bridgeport to not honor my medical benefits, because they don't know the HIPPO law, or they don't know what extreme anxiety affects, how extreme anxiety affects people. Look how it affects people. That's what I was out for, extreme anxiety. Extreme anxiety has all different forms. What does it say? What does it mean? It means that a person like me deserves a time off from work if he need be, not to be persecuted because he had enough nerve, the audacity to want to speak up and speak out about injustice. So I say again, thank God for Soundview TV, because without you, God only knows what I would have done by now. God only knows what I might still do in the future. Okay, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I plan on doing something. I will never let this go. What they did to my wife, what they did to my family, they scattered them, they threw them apart, they broke them apart. And to have the Human Rights Commission, who is appointed by the governor. The governor appoints the Human Rights Commissioner. Okay, so automatically he's going to go along with the state. He's going to go along with these officials. But I say to you, John Doe Public, tell the Connecticut Post, ask them would they please have someone to cover this story. Ask WICC radio station or News 12, will they cover this story? Will they tell the truth? And if Cecil is lying, if he's misleading them, he need to be locked up. Lock me up. Lock me up. And throw the key away if anything I said here is not the truth. Everything I said here is the truth and nothing but the whole truth. So help me God. And if I'm lying, I say, may God strike my daughter dead. May God strike me dead. May God strike my wife dead. May God strike anybody that I ever loved dead right now if I'm lying. If anything I said is a lie, take me out, Lord. Take me out now right away. Because I deserve better than the way I've been treated. I'm not no slave. I am an American taxpayer, a homeowner. I've owned my home for over 30 years. I had 2 or 3 jobs. You took away my sheriff position. They took away my job with the city. They took away my job with the housing authority. Why? Because I dared enough to care, because God called me out to speak truth to power, and he said, yes, there will be days when you will be persecuted for saying the thing that you have to say, but that's all right. I got your back, and he has my back. He paid for my house, and my house is paid for. Gerald Wayner, Mike Cohead, Dr. Evan, Jody Paul. Sue me. Take my house. You can take it. If anything I said is a lie, if anything I said I can't back up, take me out. Instead of having people squat around my house and watch every time I come in and come out. You got my family wondering when am I going to be taken out? You're going to take me out today? You're going to take me out tomorrow? I don't know when you're going to take me out. But what I wanted to be said is that when the day they do take me out, this show will be aired at my funeral on my homegoing, because I know it's coming soon, and I have no problem with that when it comes to that point. All I want to say is that to those of them who knew me and liked me and thought about me, disliked me, whatever may be the case, my funeral will not be about those getting up giving speeches about Cecil Caesar Young and where he came from, what he's all about. It'll be about me showing this show from Soundview Media, which will show you everything I've been trying to tell the public and the governor and the mayor, Joe Ganim, and all the above. Joe knows that I'm right. And for him to have his assistant, the city attorney at that time, Jeanine Hawkins, to say I was a disgruntled employee. What was I disgruntled about? What was I disgruntled about? Why wouldn't you be disgruntled if you thought your kids were playing on top of these contaminated dirt piles and it could cause them to come down with cancer? And I was there with who? State Rep Ernest Newton at the time. Okay, and yes, State Rep Ernest Newton and Anita, they likewise signed a paper saying that they wanted them to investigate my allegations to see if the city was justified when terminating me. Okay, they asked for that. Okay, and I thank them for that. But I'm sad that they didn't get mad, that they didn't get angry, because it's been almost a year now. Almost a year, April 8th, Almost a year now, and they ain't got mad. They ain't get upset with the mayor, and that's the reason why the mayor is ignoring my cry. That's the reason why the governor is ignoring my cry. They got to show them that when they signed this letter saying that they had an agreement that this matter be investigated, none of the above was done. I met with Chief Garnett for a hot minute. Okay, tears almost began to come out of my eyes, not because of me, because I needed the job, because of the insult, the pain that they caused me and my family. And you think I'm going to walk away and let you get away with this? No, no, no. I will never let this go. And as far as I'm concerned about the Democratic Party, damn the Democratic Party. You're nothing but a bunch of crooks. You're snakes. You're dogs. Every one of you is nothing but snakes. And God's going to judge you for what you did to me. I am a prophet of the Most High. And he's going to judge you, Joe Ganim. He's going to judge you, Lamont. And I say, Lamont, show up on public TV, show up with me and back up what I said here, because you ain't got no evidence, they ain't got no evidence. So for you to take this perpetrated, made up so-called Human Rights Commission to tell me that because I had the nerve to say I'm tired of being treated like a nigger, I'm a black man, well, what the hell would you say if you were treated like I I was treated after me showing you all of what I've shown you for 19 years. Then you said you're going to tell me that they were justifiable in banning me from speaking at City Hall. This ain't no South Africa. This ain't no foreign state. This is the United States of America. Wake up and smell the coffee. I said to you before, you took my family. You discarded my family. You took this young lady, stressed her out to a point where she's dead now. She's no longer here now. And my daughter, you got her going crazy almost behind the thought of her mother not being here because of what? Because you lied and conspired on me, and you got evidence showing that they did accept me back to work. Otherwise, how would she have been on my insurance? How would she have been on my insurance on March 17th? They approved it on March 17th. Why? Because she was on my insurance. Because I was not, if I was fired, she wouldn't have been on my policy if I was fired on March 16th for not coming to work on March 16th. That's why we got married on March 16th. Because I knew that they were going to fire me. That's why we got married. And I had it married by poor Joe Gaynor, brother. I could have got a brother, a black brother, or a Puerto Rican brother to marry me. No, I said, let me get the mayor's brother to marry me. And look at that. Still don't matter. Why? Because of what? I'm the N-word, because I'm being treated like the N-word. Then when I use the nigger word, you get upset and say, Cecil, don't use that word. I watched a show the other night where these students were having a debate with these kids from Harvard and Yale and other schools, and they were having a debate about the intelligence and how smart they are versus the others. And these was being driven by one of the movie stars. I can't think of his name offhand, but they were heading down the street to get ready to go to this place, and they were told to go this way, and they went that way. The way they went, they ran into a bunch of white folks. They were burning crosses and all the above, and look up in the tree. They had a black man hanging from a tree, being burnt, alive, being burnt to death. And they turned around, and they turned the lights off in the car so they couldn't recognize who they were, but somebody knows that they were niggas. And they said, hold up, them niggas. And they started chasing. They spit their car around and fled up out of there. Why? Because a few white folks who did not have the value of many other white folks have, because there's a lot of good white folks in America that care about right and wrong. But those of them that were at that time lynching that brother and burning him at that tree, having him hanging from the tree burning, you don't know the scars that they left on that boy and that family's mind, and the scar left on my mind. And I say to those of you who sit in position of authority that look like you and me, shame on you. The city council is half black, half Puerto Rican, and part white as well. And to go down to a city council, the people that look like you and I, and they are afraid to say anything publicly, openly. You don't know what it took to get me to get them to sign this letter, to draw this letter up. 19 years ago, I've been going through this. Come on, y'all. Please help me, help you, help yourself by downloading the Cecil Young Show and look at the shows over the last couple of years. You will see every show that I've had will say the same thing about all of the above subjects, all the above thugs and crooks. And I need me a lawyer. I'm willing to put my home up to get a loan, to pay any lawyer whatever it takes, whatever amount he want to charge me, to take this matter back to the Supreme Court or take it to a federal court. I would suggest a federal court because at least in the federal court, the state don't have no control over them, and they are independently in control of their own destiny. They're not in control of the politics of the day or the week because they are appointed for life. And maybe that's what I need, just like I got the federal judge to declare that I was totally disabled. Why did he declare I was totally disabled? Because I am. He realized that I was totally disabled, so he honored that. He honored the possibility that I was totally disabled. And then he honored it because of what? He honored it because of what? Because I was being treated for extreme anxiety, which has affected me physically, psychologically, otherwise, and all the above. And all I want is for the Human Rights Commission to not send me a letter saying you reviewed it with your law committee. How in the hell can you say you reviewed something with your law committee when your law committee, you wouldn't even take the information I gave you? You took a little bit. Okay, you sent me 10 forms or something that we filled out, and that's what we gave you back. We didn't give you this evidence, all this evidence. You wouldn't take it. You said, no, you don't need that right now. Just give me whatever you gave me, fill out them papers, and we filled out them papers just enough to put me on file showing you got it. But I'm going to send my stuff to the U.S. Attorney's Office in Washington, D.C., to Donald Trump, or to that U.S. Attorney lady in Washington, D.C. Someone's going to uncover, someone's going to cover what you did to me, because you're going to get exposed. I will never let this go, so you can count on it until you take me out. I will be at your door. I will be wherever you are, and I will speak out as long as I've got breath in my body. And I say to the Post and whomever else that don't want to cover the story, shame on you. Shame on you to have two elected officials to say that they want them to look into these allegations, and the Connecticut Post don't even want to print it? Brian Lookout, why? What did I do to you, Brian Lookout, to not want to report what I've given you? Overwhelming evidence. I even gave it to the editor. I sent him a package of my total disability about my situation. And I'm saying, what did I do to the Connecticut Post to make them not want to cover what we got to say when we go to City Hall? I've been going to City Hall month after month, year after year, talking about these issues. And to this day, not one time have any article ever been mentioned about me complaining about what they did to me. Not one time. John Marshall Lee, who's another brother, white brother, who goes to City Hall every month and speaks about issues every day, every month. Not one word being mentioned. Why? Why come we can't get the respect that we deserve? Come out those back rooms with the mayor and those of them, because they're polluting your mind, Brian. They're polluting your mind to a point where you begin to not do what you were hired to do, which is to print the truth, to tell the truth about what's going on in this city. In order for our people to get the justice they've been denied. They will not get that until you do that. So again, I say, thank God for public TV, because without public TV and me not having this kind of platform, God only knows what I might have done by now if I wasn't able to get this message out. So I'm saying to you, I can sleep a little bit better in my mind, psychologically. I'm going to try, because of what I put out. All of y'all got it all. Go to the website, download the Cecil Young Show, and you'll find that everything Cecil said is true. And as a matter of fact, I'm planning on hiring me a marked juror. And I met with some 3 young white ladies the other day at City Hall, and I gave them a copy of my paper, my poster, telling them that I need somebody at one of these schools to take my case and have a mock jury trial to see if the city was justifiable in violating my civil rights. We will know that, because I'm going to get it done one way or another in our local public schools and one of those private schools. And I say, whoever's willing to do it, and whoever knows the Lord that's willing to take my case, I will go to the bank and refinance my house and give you whatever you want to pay, whatever you charge me to take me to court, put me in court so I can get my justice heard. Please do that, and God will bless you, as I'm sure He's blessed me. Thank you for listening to the Cecil Young Show, and don't forget, next week, part 2, from the Human Rights Commission. I will be giving you their final solution, their final remark, which will be basically nothing, because they never received anything. They didn't get any of this information I got here, I showed you here today. I gave them the disability package, I gave them this. That should have told them something from that. Okay, but apparently that don't mean nothing to them, because again, I remembered that the governor appoints the Commissioner of Human Rights. And that is the reason why I got the problem I got. That is the reason why Governor Lamont haven't responded to me about these matters in 4 to 5 years. Ask Governor Lamont, why hasn't he responded to these complaints? Ask him, hasn't he responded? Why hasn't he responded to it? Your Republican opponent's going to want to know, why haven't you responded to it, Governor Lamont? Why have you covered up for Gerald Wayner and Mike Coy? Why are you covering up for him, Gerald Wayner? Why are you covering up for him, Lamont? You're covering up for him because you're in bed with them. Okay, you know that. You've shown me that. Ganem showed me that. All right? And God don't like ugly. And you believe me when I tell you, I've noticed those of them that have taken advantage of me, I've seen God take judgment days on them. And He will take His judgment day on you. How long? When? It's coming. Sooner than you think. May God be with you. Until the next time. Peace.